Welcome back to Business Owners Speak. Today, I'm really excited to have with us Chris Smyth with Smyth Engineering. Chris, how are you today?
Good, good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. We really appreciate you taking the time to be on with us today. So if you could, tell us a little bit about you and the business.
My name's Christopher Smythe. I'm the owner of Smyth Engineering. I opened up my office here in Stuart, Florida. I started in Mobile, where I was born, but I moved to Florida when I was around 4 years old, so I consider myself a Floridian.
Yep.
I went to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where I excelled in mathematics. I was always good in math, even though I never really studied very much. So I was always doing well and just naturally smart in math. That's what started for me to think about becoming an engineer. And that's how I really wanted to become an engineer because I felt like I was just naturally gifted at math. I even won the Mu Alpha Theta Award in mathematics my senior year for my excelling in mathematics. So I parlayed that into going to Florida State University for my civil engineering degree, which I'm very happy to be a Knoll. Go Knowles.
Yeah. All right. So we go to Florida State, you get your degree, then what happens?
Well, during my time at Florida State, I learned a lot about leadership as part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, where I was the president for some time over there. We learned a lot about skills, networking skills, team management skills, basically skills of how to become a professional. So we would go to conferences around the United States. We went to San Diego. We went to Houston. I would go with my team over there, the ship branch of Florida State, and we would represent Florida State over there nationally, making sure that we have the recognition. The idea for SHIP is to recognize Latino engineers. Well, of course, I want to appeal to all people, but during there we want to represent ourselves, excelling Latino engineers in the industry and in the professional world, especially when it comes to engineering and spec.
Okay, very nice. So active in college. So when you got out of school, were you working at an engineering firm for a while first?
Yes, yes. I got my opportunity at Hillman Engineering. It was great working with Mr. Henry Hillman, a very seasoned professional, very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. I learned so much information working with him. He would teach me about everything. He would teach me about why is certain numbers written on the side of an 18-wheeler, or why are certain panels the way they are, electrical panels, or how concrete behaves a certain way, or how roofing behaves a certain way, and the science behind it. So I would work with him, do building inspections, mainly building inspections, oversee the restoration, so mainly concrete restoration, window railing replacements, and a water intrusion. Just investigative, just to make sure that we delve into the root causes of the issue. It's so easy to figure out, okay, there's something wrong, let's patch it up or let's repair it. But we really delved into the reasoning why concrete behaves the way it is, and why buildings fail the way they do, and to interpret different failures and how to approach it, and how to, of course, properly repair it and write the specifications and technical reports on certain buildings that we're looking at.
Okay. So when did you start getting the itch to own your own business?
Just recently. I'll say my inspiration is my late mother. She really was, and she, of course, now I'll say was, she was my inspiration, and she still is my inspiration to some degree. I always do everything in memory of her, and it was in about 2021. Even though I incorporated Smyth Engineering 2014, I was kind of doing it part-time for a while because, of course, I couldn't really sustain myself, my family, now my newborn daughter. I couldn't just do it all, just jump into it without that much type of resources. So that really motivated me to really do it on my own, to open up my office, to get my employees, to quit my full-time job, and to start doing it. So I'll say right around 2021, when I really dove all into this, where I invested basically everything I have right now into this business, hoping that really excels. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure it excels. I
Sure.
try to provide great customer service. I work probably too many hours a week. I try, but I have to do what I have to do. And I would say that's when I really got my edge. Probably a couple years before then, I would say probably 2019, which I really wanted to, get my own business, get my own office, get my own employees, because I just wanted to do things a certain way. I've learned a little bit about, different businesses, working for different people. And I feel like I combined everything that, I've ever learned and ever done with in my career and try to incorporate it all into what I'm doing now.
That's great. Yeah, using all that knowledge, good, bad, and ugly, right, that you learned
Yeah, right.
previously. So, all right, so you get started in 2021, and how did you kind of get things set up? How did you go out finding your first couple of customers?
All right. Well, before then, I was, as I mentioned, I was doing things part time. So
Right.
I was still using the company, getting work, getting myself out there, getting on Vendor Smart, getting on different online, bids to, start sending bids out to look for different property managers, look for different people that need engineering work. I would do things that from designing speed bumps to, designing a interior build out of a beauty salon, different things that people would need engineering on that I would just do as part time and while I was still employed full time. So I had to do that just to earn extra income and to get a taste of what it is to, own your own business, to have people rely on you, because when something goes wrong or if there's an issue, you can't blame anybody but yourself. Even if it's your employee that, messes up, you still have to take responsibility for it. So that's when I was doing it part time, to answer your question, I built up some type of client base. I would work with different types of management companies, different people, and then once I got my own firm, that's when the trickle effect. People that I've worked with and provided service with over time, they would get back to me, and I would just be doing business under under my full time business, and I would have employees that I would have, I'm sorry, clients that I would built up over this time that I'd work for, and that's how I really got started. And plus, friends that I would have, their aunt is a property manager, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
So that was good. I definitely did have some inside help where but it's not just connections. It's more providing the service. Of course, I would provide the at least the equal service that another engineer could provide. Just that I definitely did have a little help starting out, at least with my client base. And
Yeah.
then from there, it started out word of mouth. I get one client, they teach me, they tell it to another building. I get another client and another client. So it was really word of mouth, I would say.
Okay. So walk us through some of your services. How do you kind of lay out what you offer to someone that may be looking?
Okay, well, first up, I get a job. First thing I do is go get a records request. Basically, I try to find out the whole history, permit history, when the last time the roof was done, when the last time the concrete was repaired, when the last time the asphalt was resurfaced, and the existing plans. Some jurisdictions, such as Fort Lauderdale, would have the building department, they have microfilm. So I would literally go there, sit for hours just looking through hundreds of little disc of microfilm trying to figure out what plans I need. So I try to find all the plans from the existing of the building, like all the existing plans, and I'll try to compile all the information before I go out to the project. So before I go out to a building, I have a very good sense of the history of the building. And obviously, sometimes depending on the age, they don't really have as much information. So I get a job. First thing I want to do is get educated on the building, get educated on what I'm doing, mainly inspections. So mainly I'm doing building inspections and reserve studies. So I would go based on all the information I receive, go out there, say the roof was, say you have a built up modified roof, last 20 years, there's a permit that says it was done 12 years ago. So they're going to need a new roof in 8 years. So that's the information I would use to compile, what I need to do. And then I would use my resources such as the Marshall Swift Valuation Handbook, which tells you, the useful life of concrete, not typically concrete, but concrete components, the useful life of roofs, the useful life of exterior doors, the useful life of, ceramic tile. So I would go there with all the information and just do a thorough evaluation, and I believe I go above and beyond in my inspections. I use a lot of tools. I use a polydetector, 200D, which tells you, the thickness of paints, tells you the thickness of waterproofing, see how well protected the building is. So I would really go in depth into my inspection reports to really tell, hey, is there enough protection on this building? Is there enough coating on this building? How good is the waterproofing? People don't want to really look at the waterproofing as a component that's critical, even though it's one of the 8 components for SB 154, which is the code that really details the requirements now for buildings 3 stories or more.
Mhm.
So basically, we want to look at everything. How important waterproofing is. I was just mentioning. Waterproofing is it's the barrier protectant of a building. Once water starts getting into the building through the windows, through the concrete, you're just going to have issues that are just going to compound and compound and compound. And I even partnered up with a company that does pipe inspections for the cast iron pipes, because people don't really look at that so much. People don't really know to look at their cast iron pipes. All buildings in like the 70s and 80s, all basically were built with cast iron pipes for the sanitary risers, for the kitchen risers, kitchen stacks. So all those pipes, you don't know what condition they're in. You want to scope them out. You want to go get a camera, look at them, and there's different ways to line the pipes. There's cured in place piping. There's different ways to provide preventive maintenance to your building, because you're going to have failures. You're eventually going to have failures. Eventually the pipes are going to fail. Eventually the concrete's going to fail. Eventually something's going to fail. So it's all about, really, as an engineer, protecting the life, safety, and welfare of these buildings. And that's basically what I do when I get a job. My goal when I get a job at the end of the day is to protect the safety and welfare of the community. And that's the job of a professional engineer and in general.
Right. So is most of your work currently, it's commercial buildings and it's repair or refinish or renovate? It's not a lot of new builds. Is that just how it's worked out thus far?
Correct, correct. I get involved in a lot of different aspects. I always try to help. I don't really say no to people, which is, one thing that I gotta get better at. I like to help people, at least take a look at it. I would go and look at these buildings, mainly, as you're saying, multifamily, condominiums, apartment complex, and sometimes actual commercial, like warehouses. I don't get involved in new construction. But of course, if there is a new construction building, I would love to provide a reserve study for it. But for the actual engineering and other items that's related to new builds, I do not get involved. I just stick with current existing buildings, mainly multifamily, condominiums, apartment complexes, and sometimes HOAs. They want me to come in, look at drainage issues, look at retaining walls, look at different things. So typically, for the most part, it's mainly condominiums and apartment complexes that I'm really focused on.
Okay, got it. And what's the makeup of your team look like right now? Who do you have supporting you?
Right now, I have a very brilliant man, Gerson Mendez. He's from Dominican Republic. Very sharp engineer. I consider him my structural engineer, although he's not an actual SI designation. He knows a lot about calculations, how to put together my plans and specifications. Very good at AutoCAD. He really understands the structural components of concrete, wood. How to draw a mansard, on a roof. Basically, mansard design. And I have a nice, good architect also from Colombia. So Alfonso Gonzalez. He's a great architect. He really designs everything that I'm doing, like the repair details. Basically everything that's involved, like build outs. We would take a house that wants to turn 1 bedroom into like 2 bedrooms with an extra bathroom. So he would help spearhead the redesign completely, like demo plan, how to remodel, the new walls, the new electric, new plumbing. Even though we do the conceptual, but as for the MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, we use another company called FAE with Ben Jados. They do all the engineering for that, but we do the conceptual. He helped spearhead doing the architectural plans, drawing in the electrical, plumbing, mechanical. But basically, they work together as a team. Gerson and Alfonso work together, putting together the plans, helping me out doing the concrete restoration plans, window railing replacement plans, specifications, really my technical guys, my technical team. And
Okay.
I for the most part am taking care of, all the inspection reports, writing them up. I'm trying to train them also to do that also, but for the most part, I would say me personally, I'm doing most of the inspections. I'm on the road a lot. I, I'm
Right.
on I'm on the road like probably 2 days a week at least, going to all the different job sites, all my different inspections, all the different projects I got going on. I got a Conquer Restoration, a nice one, 12 buildings in Harbor Village in North Palm Beach.
Mhm.
I'm the a prior provider for a project going on in Riviera Beach. So I'm always trying to be at these different places. And I got a few jobs going on currently in Fort Lauderdale and Lauderdale Lakes that I would have to inspect as well. So I try to plan out my day where I do most of the inspections, inspection reports, but I am trying to grow my teams to take some more off my plate. So the more I work with them, my employees, more that I teach them, more that they go over, and I am looking to add another engineer in the mix, and then hopefully my plan is by, let's say, this time next year to expand. There's an office right next to me that's on lease, so my plan is to buy it out and expand into there to double my office space and double my employees. Uh, God willing, if the company really succeeds as I'm hoping it will.
Right. All right, Chris. So how about you end it today with telling us kind of what you've learned since you've been a business owner and turn that into some words of wisdom for other small business owners.
Well, one thing about being a business owner is that you don't have a guaranteed paycheck every week. You start out, there's weeks where, you're kind of have work that you're finishing up that, sometimes, it's hard being, competing against the big dogs per se. You're trying to compete against guys that have been around for 20, 30 years. So it's all about just trying to talk to your team and having them just learn and be productive. And also, one other thing I would like to say is that your employees, they're not just robots. You have to treat them like people. They have family. They have things they got to do. They have places they got to be. They got doctor's appointments. They got to take vacations. You got to treat them nice. It's not all about what my first point I was trying to make is that it's not about, okay, you have this deadline. Of course, it's good to give deadlines, but you don't want to put so much pressure on your team when there is work to really, stress them out. Let them work at their own pace. Don't micromanage. Don't be over their shoulders what they're doing. You want to train them well, but at the same time, you don't want to stress them out. You don't want to just like see what they're doing every like multiple times a day just to see if like what the progress is. You want to just give them time, let them work at their own pace, but give them the tools they need to be productive, and they'll show in the results at the end of the day. It might be slow starting out to kind of get them to know, once you start hiring somebody, get them to know like the program, get them to know how things work, get them to know how things operate. Of course, things will be slower early on, but you want to give your guys the tools, give your employees the tools they need to be successful. Like I made a big investment. I have everything here. I have, I decided to go all out. Get nice computers. Like I got the biggest monitors that they have on the market. I got nice. My brother built some nice computers. So give them the tools they need. Make the investment early, and I'm looking just to over time that they'll appreciate that and they would grow in themselves. And I've also learned other things that I helped me out too, that I saw like leaving early on Fridays. Right now I close the office at 1 p.m. on Fridays because, I figured, as I mentioned to one of the points is that they got lives. I figured they could schedule stuff
Yeah.
too, like dentist, doctor's appointments, just start the weekend early, beat the traffic. And also for me too, I want to get home, see my wife and daughter. So I would like to, we start at 7:30 during the week. So, we get a couple extra hours in during the week. But, just do little things, and little things matter to me. At least when I was working for different companies, little things did matter, like, snacks, drinks. I mean, little things, but you want to listen to your employees. You want to treat your employees well. I know that sounds cliche, but you want to, they're the reason why you're going to be successful or not. Like, as I mentioned, I can't do this on my own. I can't work like 100 hours a week. I need to have like my peace of mind. I need to give them activities to do and make sure they get done and done well. And then over time, I'm sure they'll be more efficient and they would appreciate kind of what I'm doing for them.
Yeah.
Give them, treat them well and just let them, just let them learn and let them grow.
Yeah, taking care of your team is the fastest way to growing your business, no doubt. So,
Absolutely.
um, Christopher Smythe, thank you so much. You did a great job, and it was nice to learn more about you and your business. It's Smyth Engineering. Look them up. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.